See you in 24 hours, my lovely pack of rats.
This is Scotty and Andrew, and you're listening to Fun with Horror.
Hey, everybody, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Scotty.
What a beautiful voice. Welcome, everybody, to episode 123 of Fun with Horror. It's the movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch by taking turns giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss.
That is right, Andrew. Last week, it was my pick, and I picked the very recent Abigail. And of course, everybody, stay tuned to the end of this episode to hear what young Andrew is going to pick for our next movie. But until then, hi, buddy.
Hi, we did Abigail? I thought it was Annabelle. I did not watch the right movie. See?
Yeah.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
funny.
No,
Now, see, that
it's
is
Fun with
comedy.
Horror.
Oh, it is. Look at us. Hey,
I know. Hey, buddy.
we've got like a new segment here for our
Uh-oh.
intro. It's our Patreon segment
Patreon segment?
in which we dedicate part of the podcast to all of you beautiful listeners. I just feel like that's something that people say in podcasts.
Yeah, I think so. And sponsored by.
What would we be sponsored by?
Oh, man.
Jergens lotion?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
fun.
Fun with horror. When you want to have more fun with horror. Yeah?
I really hope that a representative from Jergens Lotion is like, oh, I think I need to make a phone call.
Yes.
That would be pretty cool.
We would have such a weird audience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But hey, we don't judge.
Hey, I just came over from the Jergens subreddit. And you guys are splendid. But anyway,
Anyway. Oh my gosh.
we did start a Patreon.
Yeah.
I feel so weird about it, but we did it.
I know. Yeah.
And one of the things that we promise to our patrons is a personalized thank you right here on the podcast.
It's true.
And we've got some new patrons.
That's awesome. Man, that's awesome.
First of all, I'd like to give a very special thank you to Chuddle the Brian.
Brian. Thank you, Chettle Brian.
That's Brian from Chuddle the Pod, everybody.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you. And we love you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And we do love you.
See, I planned to tell everybody that we love them, but man, did that sound creepy?
I mean, I would expect nothing less from this podcast.
Brian, we love you.
Not only do we love you, I watch you every night. Every time you jump in that shower, I'm there watching. Like that?
Yeah, that's great, but we're not going to say the same thing to our next patron.
Yeah. Sorry.
Ari. That's Ari. That's our longtime listener, Ari. Thank you so much for patronizing us. Is that the right word?
I don't know, but it works, I guess. Thank you, Ari. Thank you so much.
For being a patron. And yes, we love you.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Next, we have Jess Echo. Jess is a very longtime friend of mine, a longtime supporter of us as a podcast. Jess,
you.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna. You put your hand up. I thought it was gonna be an intense thank you. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, and we love you.
My hand is always up, though.
That's true. You're excited. I love it.
Yeah, I talk with my hands on the podcast, and nobody knows until now. And finally, Lou Sassel, which is Colby from the Horror House podcast.
Thank you so much. From the Horror House podcast. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Thank you. And guess what? We love you.
And this is the fun part. Hopefully, by the time that this episode right here has aired, our first patron-only episode is going to be available on Patreon.
Oh my gosh.
And that's me talking with Colby from the Horror House podcast about the movie The Coffee Table.
Oof. Ooh, buddy.
More about that in a second,
Yeah.
because this is still about our listeners right now.
Yeah. That's right. This
Buddy,
is a you time.
We have another review on Apple.
We do. And it's splendid. It's a splendid review.
Why don't you read it to us, my friend?
All right. So this is from Skim Fan, an M, and it says genuine and lovable hosts with 5 stars. It says review long time overdue. New iPhone user and finally figured out where to write review. These 2 hosts give great analysis of films, have an awesome friendship, and make me feel like part of their club. The rapport with each other and the listener is amazing, and I have so much fun listening to them. If you love horror movies and are having a bad day, give a listen, and it will truly break open the clouds and make you feel the love. Scotty and Andrew, please don't ever stop doing the podcast, or I will have to kidnap you and make you continue doing podcasts because I'm your #1 fan. And then a little emoji face of the eyes covered up with one kind of peeking out. That's so sweet.
As you might have just heard, Andrew just did it and then blocked the microphone, covering his eyes.
I forget that people can't see; they can only hear. And yeah, there you go. But that is such a great review. Oh my gosh! Thank you.
That is an amazing review.
So good.
That's what you and I always go for.
Mm-hmm.
Is just to help people have a good day.
That's exactly right, man. We all need to have something nice and fun in our days. So yeah, definitely that's our goal. We want people just to have a good time.
I mean, that's why we started the podcast in the first place, because when you and I would talk to each other on the phone, it would brighten up our days.
For sure. Oh man.
And we wanted to share that with all 20 people that listen to us. Just kidding. We get a lot now. I'm not going to say numbers,
but it's very sweet.
We're kind of a big deal. Hey, you know what? We also have some new answers on Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
That weird Spotify interaction thing. So,
yeah, man.
As I mentioned last episode, I think on Spotify now, when you listen to an episode, there's also a question that you can answer. And it says something like, what did you think of this episode and this movie? And we've got a couple more. So the first one is on our last episode, which was what movie, Andrew?
Infested.
J period, that's all. J dot said kittens and calendars would be great.
Yes.
And then we also have another one. Now, this one's interesting, Andrew.
Ooh, okay.
It popped up on our old The Wrath of Becky episode.
Wow, okay.
And I think this might be AI. Because the answer to the question, what did you think of this episode, is Beck, hi, good afternoon.
Well, unless this is the singer Beck saying, Beck, I'm like, hi, good afternoon. Essentially saying, I really like this episode. Just want to say hi. Also, I'm the singer Beck.
Or they think we're the singer Beck. And they're saying good afternoon because the word Beck is in the name of that episode.
Oh, wow. I think you might be right. We should probably let them know we are not Beck.
I'm not going to let them know that at all because I want them to keep listening thinking that we're Beck.
That's fair.
You're Beck. I'm Beck. We're all Beck.
I mean, really, that's kind of our philosophy.
I'm a loser, baby.
In the time of chimpanzees, I was a monkey.
There you go. That was good. I
didn't
expected the next lyric, but
well, I don't know what he says, so
why don't you kill me?
Oh gosh, yeah, but that's
dark.
That's dark. I'm not gonna.
But this is fun with horror.
That's true. That's true.
Man, I got more here, buddy.
Man, this intro. Look at this.
I went to Monsterpalooza.
Oh, that's right.
And guess who I met?
I know, but I want you to tell the people who you met.
I briefly met Melissa Barrera.
Oh my gosh.
And it was wonderful. She was awesome.
Nice.
I got a photo op, my very first photo op at a convention ever.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
And here's the fun thing.
What?
Anybody who has seen my Threads post or our Instagram post about it, they already know this, but I attended Monsterpalooza with our good friends Stanley and Alex
Yes,
from the Gory Gaze podcast.
of course.
They were standing in the photo op line with me,
Hmm.
and a guy came along and said, just as a reminder, your photo op ticket gets you a photo with up to 2 adults and 3 children.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had found out earlier that day that Alex is a very big Melissa Barrera fan.
Oh,
He's been a fan of hers since way before In the Heights.
wow. Okay. Okay.
I was a little bit nervous and awkward about the whole thing since I'd never done it. So I was like, Alex, you want to be in the photo with me? And he was like, are you serious?
Oh,
And so he was in the photo with me.
that's awesome.
It's wonderful. And he got to have a wonderful day because of it. And I wasn't so nervous meeting Melissa Barrera.
That's cool. That's really sweet. That's awesome. And it is a great picture, man. It's a great picture.
Yeah, it is a great picture. I might as well have not even been there, though. She loved Alex. She gave him 2 hugs.
Oh, wow.
It was so nice.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
And Alex was talking to her in Spanish, probably some negative things about me, but that's fine.
I mean, typically when I speak Spanish, it's only to talk negative things about you. So I get it. I get it.
This is why I love you.
I love you.
Finally, as I mentioned, I mean, that really should be the segue into the movie Abigail.
Right. Fair.
I'm terrible at segues, as we all know. I fall off of them every single time.
Oh, I was just gonna say you're so much better at scooters. Dang it. Oh, I love you.
Yeah. Same
Yes.
joke.
Yes.
Friends.
Best
Forever.
friends. Forever.
The coffee table.
Buddy.
So,
Yeah.
so you can hear all about the movie on our Patreon, where I
Yeah.
talk about it with Colby, as I mentioned earlier. But let me just, for everybody listening now,
Hmm.
let me just set the scene. I'm sitting at home on a Tuesday night, and all of a sudden, my best friend Andrew texts me out of nowhere, unprompted, and says, "Hey, buddy, I just read a synopsis for The Coffee Table, and I just can't do it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" We didn't even pick it. We've never talked about this movie, but no, Andrew was preempting me.
Yes, I
He
was.
making sure that I was not going to pick The Coffee Table for a future movie
That's exactly right.
because the subject matter is not something you want to watch.
Nah, yeah, I do not. But the reason I was prompted was because that day, talking about our friends, the Gory Gays, had posted that their episode was going to be about it, and you commented on it and said, I want to see it, or I'm excited about it, or whatever. It was something, and I was like, man, everyone's talking about this. But my gut, I don't know why. I never read the synopsis of movies, but I had a gut feeling. I was like, I need to know what this is about. And then I looked it up and was like, okay, yeah, Scotty, I can't watch this with you, buddy. This cannot be one because it's too much for me. I can't handle that.
And of course, that got my curiosity up. And I was already curious about it because I'd heard it was kind of a rough movie.
Yeah.
It's very grim.
Yeah.
But then even still, I was like, okay, that's something I'll watch at some point. But then your text, I was like, wow, what is it that Andrew is so triggered by? And I went to IMDb and I read the synopsis, not just the little quick one.
Right. Yeah.
The moment I saw that Jesus and Maria have a newborn baby, I was like, oh,
yep,
something happens with the baby.
That's exactly right.
There's something that has to do with the baby. Now, I'm going to tell you what I envisioned in my mind, but I'm not going to spoil the movie.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Knowing that people found this movie brutal, I pictured some movie about this coffee table that's somewhat cursed and makes these people go crazy, and they end up eating their newborn baby.
Lord have mercy, Scotty. Jeez. Gosh. Oh, okay.
The movie is not about that.
No, jeez. God.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Oh, well, I have something to have a nightmare about later. Thanks, dude.
I will tell you this. The movie, in a way, reminded me of Speak No Evil.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
In a way, because when the movie ended, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I was like, man, this movie, I don't know if there was a point to it.
Yeah. Okay.
But like Speak No Evil, it stuck with me overnight. The next morning, I woke up thinking about it, and I was like, that was a really good movie. That movie, and I put this on Threads, I said, that movie, the director manipulated my emotions and my anxiety in that movie like a skilled orchestra conductor.
Oof. That was really good, man. That was beautiful. My gosh. You need to write. You should write.
I'm terrible at writing.
Not if that's what's coming out of your mouth. Just talk to the computer like you just did and make it write it for you.
You know what I am good at?
What?
Ballet dancing. Abigail.
Abigail. What a segue. What a segue.
Listen, little lady, or ma'am, whatever. We're very sorry, okay? We didn't know who you were. We thought you were just a regular 12-year-old girl.
You were gonna beat me and torture me when you thought I was just a regular 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, well...
Abigail was directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, otherwise known as Radio Silence. It was written by Stephen Shields and Guy Busick, and it stars Melissa Barrera as Joey, Dan Stevens as Frank, Angus Cloud as Dean, Kathryn Newton as Sammy, Kevin Durand as Peter, William Catlett as Rickles, Giancarlo Esposito as Lambert, Alisha Weir as Abigail, and Matthew Goode as somebody I'm not going to mention yet.
Very good. And of course, because you're not going to mention it, it brings us to our next thing to talk about, which is spoilers. We're going to spoil this movie. And if you have not seen it and you're all right with spoilers, of course, stick around. But if you want to watch the movie first, go watch it and then come right back to this spot because we are going to spoil this movie.
That's right.
There you go. That's your spoiler warning, people. Now let's talk about everything and anything. But of course, we have our 3-minute recap first.
That's right. All right, buddy.
Oh, gosh.
As everybody knows, I roll a virtual die. If it's odd, Andrew's going to do it. If it's even, I'm going to do it. And just as a reminder, everybody, Andrew and I do this 3-minute recap pretty much from memory.
Yeah.
We have our notes in front of us, but we are not allowed. One of our rules is that we are not allowed to prepare ahead of time a 3-minute recap. We do this from memory.
Yeah.
So if we get things wrong, that's why.
Yes. The only time I look at my phone is I'm like, oh, what was that character's name? Oh, yeah. Joey does this.
And then you still get it wrong.
And I still get it wrong. So I'm useless at this 3-minute recap.
All right. I am rolling the die. Tell me when to stop, buddy.
Stop.
7.
Fudge. All right.
You are doing it, my friend.
Gosh dang it. All right. Okay.
The cool thing is that when I had the photo op with Melissa Barrera, she got close to me to whisper in my ear, and I was really excited. But all she said was, Andrew does my favorite 3-minute recaps.
That's really sweet. Thank you, Melissa. That's very kind. That's it. Okay, good. Wow. That's very sweet. Okay.
You're her favorite.
Yes. I wondered, you know what? It's probably all the fan fiction I've been writing about her that I send to her. It's probably that. No, not that.
Cut. No. Stop.
Well, no, it's like books. All right.
That's okay. I write Michael Ironside fan fiction, so
I think we all do. That's why I can't record as often, because most of my time is Michael Ironside fan fiction. You know this.
Whenever you're ready, buddy.
Yep. All right.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Okay. All right. Well, the movie starts out with pretty much all the group that Scotty just mentioned. They are thieves or kind of criminals that are going to go and kidnap this girl, which they do, little Abigail. On their way out, they of course, set off some alarms, and they eventually get to this house where they're met by Giancarlo Esposito, who is playing Lambert. Gosh, forgot his name. There you go. Got my phone. Lambert's there, and he's saying, hey, you're going to be in this house with this kidnapped girl for 24 hours, and we're going to get, $50 million ransom. No one knows who the dad is, and no one's asking, and everyone's using code names, fake names. No one knows who each other is. But the only person that's allowed to talk to Abigail is Melissa Barrera, who is Joey. She's the only one that can go in and talk to her. Of course, we get to know these characters a little bit, and it's a wacky crew. You get to like some of them, maybe hate some of them, whatever. Eventually, Joey goes in to talk to Abigail, and Abigail has a blindfold on and is handcuffed, and Joey, we see on her phone before she gives it away, they all have to give their phone away for the night, that she has a picture of a little boy with her. So we see that she has someone that she loves that's a kid. So, of course, she has kind of a heart for kids. And so Abigail is uncomfortable. She messes with her. Joey messes with her handcuffs, removes her blindfold, and they kind of talk. And she says, I'll never let anything happen to you, Abigail. Like, I'm here to protect you, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, they're trying to figure out who this dad is. They get a little nervous. Frank goes up to see her, not realizing that her blindfold has been off, and freaks out because she sees his face. She eventually finds out, though, he puts a gun to her head, finds out that her dad is sort of this really bad crime boss. And he says, I'm getting out of here. I cannot deal with this. This is a bad, bad guy. There's rumors, there's thoughts, there's all these things about this guy. So he decides to leave, but of course they all stop him and say, this is like $7 million each. We got to stay. Then things kind of take a turn. One of the characters, played by the late, great Angus Cloud, Dean, is decapitated, and they realize someone else is in the house with them, trying to kill them. Eventually, they start getting killed, a few one by one, and we see that they run up to Abigail's room to see if maybe she's been taken as well. Whoever came into the house took her. They decide that they're going to kind of beat her up because they think she's lying or hurt her. And of course, Joey's like, you can't do this. Abigail's screaming, please help me. And Joey goes, I can't, I'm trying. And then we see that Abigail is starting to turn a little bit. She rips off her handcuffs, and she looks a little different when she smiles. Her teeth are sharp. She jumps on one of them, bites them, and of course they realize that she's the one that's been decapitating and hurting people because she is a vampire. We then get a lot of cat and mouse chases throughout this movie. Eventually we see that Lambert actually has been kind of controlling a few things from behind the scenes. He eventually turns Dean into a vampire, which he's killed immediately. Dean kills him right away. Dean then bites Abigail. Yeah, he does.
Frank,
sorry, not Dean. Whatever. Frank. Whatever. Frank kills right away. See, this is what happens, everybody, all from memory. Anyway, Frank kills him right away. Frank and Abigail have a fight, and Joey tries to escape. Eventually, Frank bites Abigail and drains her pretty bad, and then he goes to kill Joey. Joey's about to die, and Abigail runs out and says she's weak but needs help to defeat him so they can team up. During this time, though, Frank has bit Joey and thinks that he can control her like a puppet, which she, of course, is faking it and tries to stab him. Anyway, the two fight Frank, I should say, and eventually they kill Frank. Abigail is appreciative of Joey, and because Frank died, Joey's not going to turn into a vampire. Joey goes to leave, and her dad, Abigail's dad, actually does show up and is going to kill her, and Abigail says, no, she helped me. And the two of them say, then you should probably leave because it's almost dinner time, and Joey leaves, and that's the end of the movie. Phew, that was tough, man.
that was tough, but you know what? You came in just under 3 minutes.
Well, look at that.
And boy, that was like the classic Andrew recap.
It was. Yep.
In that you very much detailed the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie, and then you just threw detail out the window.
Because, this movie really does set it up in the first 30, 40 minutes, and then it is just kind of crazy afterward. And I was like, all right. So it definitely was a classic Andrew, but I feel like with this one, I don't know, even watching it, I was like, all right, we're set up. Now let the good times roll, and they do. All right, man. I gave the recap, but I am curious. What did you think of this movie?
Buddy, this is 2 weeks in a row that we've watched two of my favorite horror movies of this year.
Yes. All right.
I had such a good time watching this movie.
Nice. Awesome.
What about you?
It's same. I thought this movie was so much fun. And as I was watching it, I thought, and I've said this before about certain episodes on the podcast, but I was like, man, this feels like a fun with horror movie. I was like, this is not why we do it, but this is like a perfect movie for us because it is a blast. It's just it's a good time. So
Absolutely.
I loved it.
Yeah, this movie is the definition, to me at least, of fun.
Yes. Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
As far as horror movies go.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just, it's fun. It is. It's a good time.
Now, did you have any quibbles or issues with the movie that you wrote down?
I didn't actually. I'm sure as we talk, if you have some, I might agree. But honestly, like I said, I just kind of sat there for an hour and 47 minutes and just enjoyed the heck out of a film. So I don't have any quibbles, man. I just had a good time.
I don't have any really anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because watching this movie a second time,
Mm-hmm.
I think my quibbles kind of went away. I was just whatever. But the one thought that I had the first time I watched this movie,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we did the movie Renfield.
Yes.
We discussed that movie. And one thing we mentioned was that we didn't really care for Nicolas Cage's full mouth of sharp teeth.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
You know, vampires traditionally have just the two incisors or whatever.
Right.
Well, here we are with another movie
Mm-hmm.
with vampires having a full set of sharp teeth.
Right.
Now, that in itself did not bother me.
Okay.
But when Abigail reveals that she is not just a little girl,
Right.
they get out of the room, they escape the room, and they go downstairs and they immediately say that she's a vampire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get you. Yep.
And I'm sitting there wondering, how did they know that she's a vampire? She's obviously something different,
Right.
but she doesn't look like a traditional vampire.
True.
Although I feel like maybe she did on my second watch because she does immediately go for the guy's throat.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, she does.
So this kind of went away, but still is kind of there. Like they just immediately go to vampire. And I'm like,
True.
If I had been there, I don't know if my mind would have immediately gone vampire.
That makes sense. Yeah. Honestly, you'd just think like monster or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
she's a monster. So that's a good point. Look at you, man.
I don't know. It kind of went away.
It makes sense though. I totally get that.
As far as I know, that's my only teeny tiny, itsy bitsy, roly poly quibble with this movie.
Good. That's perfect though. That's not bad.
Otherwise, I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just jumping right into it. I loved everything. Like just the setup. I go, okay, we got a great team played by great actors, actresses. I mean, it was fantastic. I liked their dynamic. And right away I was like, oh, cool. Okay. I like this premise. And I knew, I hadn't watched the trailer, but I knew that obviously Abigail was not a little girl. She was something, you know.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you know?
Mhm.
Did you know she was a vampire?
I want to say I do. I don't know, man. I'm really trying to remember. I knew that she was something different, but I don't know if I did know she was vampire. No, I did. I did know she was a vampire.
Yeah, they kept it no secret that this movie was about a little girl ballerina who is also a vampire.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I must have read something or seen something or whatever that said vampire. So I did know, but I didn't really know anything else. I knew that they were in the house with her. That was kind of what I knew. But the setup was fun. I was like, this is cool. I'm all about this, and it delivered. So I was happy.
I wonder what this movie would have been like if you or I had not known a single thing about it.
Yeah, I thought that
and we
too.
just go in knowing that it's about a little girl named Abigail and it's a horror movie.
Right.
And when that reveal happens, we're like, oh, damn, that's what this is about?
So I thought that same thing, and then I had a thought about it. I said, that would have been awesome if they kept that hidden. But, I mean, they're trying to make money, and I think by showing, like, maybe some of that, it may have piqued interest of people going, oh, monsters, oh, creepy, oh, vampire, oh, you know. But I'm like, I did think that. I was like, man, that would have been cool if they kept that a secret. But how well would it have done? I don't know.
That was also my thought. When I was watching it last night, I was thinking there's no way they could have marketed this movie successfully without revealing that she's a vampire. She's a creature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, doing a 2.5 minute trailer would have been tough.
My first huge compliment to this movie kind of goes along with something you said a little bit ago.
Oh, yeah.
The characters are fantastic.
Agreed.
Knowing that Abigail is a vampire when you start watching this movie for the first time, she doesn't actually reveal that until I think about 45, 50 minutes into the movie.
It's a while, for sure. Yep.
And we're talking, it's not quite, but it's almost a 2-hour movie. It's like an hour 50, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
But if you know that this little girl's a vampire and you're waiting for it to get to that moment, if the characters in the movie are not engaging enough,
yes,
you're going to feel impatient. You're going to feel antsy. But I was so invested in these characters that I was along for the ride.
The exact same. I thought the exact same thing. I mean, you get great, they're all pretty known people, I would say, for the most part as well, but they're all people I've really liked. I've watched them, and even when I was looking at the cast, I was like, this is a cool cast. Like, this is really fun. And then seeing them interact, it was great because it was really good chemistry. And I actually watched something today, just Dan Stevens, the Dan Stevens, was doing like just a quick little interview, and he was talking about the directors kind of saying, have fun, like go ahead and improvise, just kind of go off each other. And it shows. And there wasn't a lot of times where I was like, too much, guys, too much improvising, or that's weird. No one would do that, or it's going too long. I was like, this is they're really getting along. It shows that they're getting along. It shows they're having fun, Then I like that. It makes it even more fun, and it makes it you're more invested in them. So
that's awesome. And do you know what that means?
What?
That means that you did more research on the behind the scenes of this movie than I did.
Well, that's a first. And even that's all I did, though, was like that one tiny interview. So
that's more than me.
Jeez.
In fact, my notes for this movie are a lot less than usual because it's not that complicated a movie.
Right.
I wrote down a few things so that I would remember them, but mostly I just had fun rewatching this a second time last night.
Nice.
After watching it a week earlier.
I love it. This is one I would say, well, like you said, but I mean, like, this is a rewatchable movie. Like, this is one I could do every, October and have a blast. Like, this is one I would not get sick of. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So this is totally a movie I will probably watch during the spooky season. Because it's fun.
I'll tell you something else that nobody else in the world cares about and will grind this podcast to a halt.
Yay.
So, last year, before I got furloughed and all, which I've talked about in other episodes, I got a sound bar, and I was going to build a new little Sonos sound system in my apartment. But then I got furloughed, and I couldn't afford to get the surround speakers and everything. So I've been watching movies either with headphones or just this sound bar, which admittedly, it's a pretty good sound bar.
Nice.
But I just finally got some surround speakers for my new system a week and a half ago. And Abigail was the very first movie I watched with my new surround sound speakers.
How was it?
Fantastic, of course.
Nice. I know. I just want to hear it.
Anyway, I'll probably delete this because nobody cares. But
I care.
I know, but only you.
No, people care.
The 1,500 people listening to this episode right now, they don't care.
No, 15,000. You're getting the number wrong.
I wish. God, that would be amazing. I don't think 15,000 people listen to any podcast.
Well,
except for maybe Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, but that's cheating. He had a whole talk show for years.
And wrote. Yeah, he did. I love Conan. Anyway. So this movie was directed by Radio Silence, otherwise known as Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. We have talked about a couple of movies that they've done. Those movies being Scream 2022 and Scream 6.
Yes.
But they also directed Ready or Not.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I love Ready or Not.
Yeah, we've both seen that one.
We're
not going to spoil Ready or Not. So we got to be careful with a couple things we say later on.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Because I'll tell you right now, somebody mentioned something very
Mhm.
specific about Ready or Not, which spoiled a little bit a minor thing about this movie.
Yeah. I'm assuming I know what you're talking about.
I think you do too. And all I'm going to say right now is if you've seen Ready or Not,
Mhm.
you know the similarities between that movie and this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
These directors definitely have something that they enjoy doing in their movies. So
Yeah, they do.
And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about Ready or Not, because to say more kind of spoils some big things in that movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you haven't
It's a
seen
fun
it,
movie though.
yeah, go watch it. Go watch it. But anyway, yeah, so I really like these directors.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm with you.
Even with the issues that I have with the last two Scream movies, which aren't many.
Right. Yeah.
The one thing that they have is this sense of fun with their movies. I just have a really good time. Like I could put on any of those other three movies right now and have a good time watching them.
Oh, for sure. I've seen Ready or Not 5 times or so. I mean, because I watched it with people. There was people that hadn't seen it. I was like, oh, you got to watch Ready or Not. Let's watch it.
Oh, wow.
It's a fun movie.
I've seen it almost that many times. I've only seen it once.
We're going to work on math after this, bud. I'm going to help you out a little bit.
Yay. Anyway.
Oh, gosh. All right.
But yeah, so let's talk about the story a little bit, which you did a really good job with the first 30 or 40 minutes of this movie. But then you missed some really important stuff in your 3-minute recap.
Because we're going to talk about it. So you're welcome, listeners.
So mainly this crew, they kidnap this girl, this little girl. She's a ballerina.
Yep.
And they take her to this very creepy mansion.
That's awesome.
That seems to be owned by Giancarlo Esposito, otherwise known as Lambert. And he tells them that the hard part's over. They just have to guard this girl for 24 hours while he gets ransom money from her father.
Right.
Then we learn that this girl's father is possibly this guy named Christophe Lazar.
Right.
Who is this legendary man in the criminal underworld or something like that.
Right. Scary.
He's got a hitman named Valdez.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, because of something Abigail says to Frank, they start to think that maybe Valdez is one of the crew.
Right. Yep.
And especially after Dean dies, which we'll talk about in a second. Then we realize eventually, obviously, that Abigail is a vampire and that the Valdez that they've heard about, this hitman who pretty much destroys the people he kills.
Right.
That's Abigail.
Yeah. It was great.
And of course, we learn that there's no ransom.
Right.
That these people have been brought to this mansion for Abigail to feast on.
Yes.
Pretty much for sport, but also because each of these people did something to wrong Lazar.
Right.
So this is their punishment. Abigail is going to kill them.
Right.
And then, and this is the broad strokes here. As people die, we then find out that Giancarlo Esposito is also a vampire. He has been turned, and now he has been a vampire for 2 years, and he wants to stop being the servant of Abigail and her father.
Right.
And he wants to kill Abigail. And he's going to do so by turning Frank into a vampire.
Yes.
And then Frank turns the tables on Lambert and kills Lambert.
Right.
And then Frank pretty much at this point becomes the bad guy.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The most evil of vampires.
Building up to this point, he's not a nice guy. Like, he's kind of a jerk, you know? I mean, he's definitely like, as you're watching, you're like, this guy's a kind of a D-bag, you know? Meant to be, obviously, but he just says a few things where you're like, ugh, this guy.
But am I wrong? He's kind of a likable D-bag.
That's the thing. And I think that's Dan Stevens, though. I mean, I think he just kind of played it that way because he's so good. And yeah, and I loved his accent, whatever he was doing. That was kind of like, you know, hey, what are you doing over there? You know, it made me laugh.
Which that's really strong. his accent was more subtle than that.
Definitely, yes, absolutely. But when you hear him talk outside of character, and he's got this like wonderful British accent, it's fun to hear the difference.
Yeah. Let's talk about all these actors since you're talking
Yes.
about Dan Stevens.
Yes, for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah.
This was such a amazing cast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and first and foremost,
Mhm.
Melissa Barrera.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's great.
Now, we're going to call them by the names they're given, but that was another cool part of the movie.
Mhm.
And I'll be honest, I'm an idiot, and I did not get it till my second watch.
Okay.
But basically, they're not supposed to give each other their names,
Right.
their
Yes.
real names. So as Lambert is leaving them in the mansion, he gives them each a name.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last guy,
Oh yeah.
I forget his real name, but anyway,
Yeah.
but the actor's name is William Catlett. He tells,
Oh, Rickles. Don Rickles.
yeah, but before that, he tells Lambert that, something about, I don't know, being up with the times or something,
Right.
current events,
Yeah, that's right.
because Lambert has given them each a name of the famous Las Vegas Rat Pack.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And even he leaves and he says, I'll see you in 24 hours, my pack of rats.
Yeah. Yep.
And I still didn't get it.
Well, and then yeah, did you get it when Peter
No.
or Kevin Durand is like, "Oh, I get it. We're the
No,
pack
I
of
didn't.
rats."
I was not even thinking of it.
Nice.
I was distracted by the other aspects of this movie.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I just didn't even think of it. But yeah,
Mhm.
they all get a name. Frank Sinatra, Dean
Right.
Martin, Sammy Davis Jr.,
Right.
and then
my
the
God,
other
that's
two
really
that I never remember their real names, Joey, and I didn't write this down like an idiot. But there's Peter Lawson and
Right.
Joey. What's his?
Yeah, I know. You always
But
get
anyway.
the main the big four. But yeah. Yeah.
So Melissa Barrera is Joey, or
Mhm.
we find out later her real name is Ana Lucia.
Yes.
And of course, we all know what happened to Melissa Barrera in regards to Scream.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons that I wanted to get a photo op with her to show my
Mhm.
support for her and what she's stood for.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to get into it, but
Right.
just in case you're listening and you don't know, Melissa Barrera was supposed to come back for Scream 7.
Right.
He's been posting stuff in support of the people of Palestine, the people
Mhm.
that are being killed by
Mhm.
Israel. The people at Lionsgate took that as an excuse to fire her from Scream 7.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna Ortega followed along pretty quickly after that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was pretty pissed off.
I know.
I'll be honest, after that, I became a bigger Melissa Barrera fan than I ever was before. And I was super excited to watch this movie just to support her. But
Mhm.
then I found out that this was another radio silence movie.
Nice. Yeah.
The directors of Scream 5 and 6, who are not coming back for 7 either.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm almost glad that they're not, because I'm so happy this movie exists.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude. It's a blast.
But anyway, Melissa Barrera is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Stevens is great.
Yeah.
Kathryn Newton,
Which, yeah, she's in pretty much everything now. I feel like anytime I turn on a movie, I'm like, oh, Kathryn Newton's there.
Now, here's the funny thing about Kathryn Newton.
Yeah.
I obviously recognized her when I watched the movie,
Mhm.
but it was a thing where I was like, she was in something recent. Oh, yeah, Lisa Frankenstein. She was in that. And it didn't hit me till last night. I'm like, holy crap. She's in the dang MCU.
Yeah.
The Marvel movies
Ant-Man.
that I love so much that I'm such a huge fanboy of. Yes, she was Cassie, Ant-Man's daughter, in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania,
Yeah.
which is right. Everybody pretty much says that's the best MCU movie ever.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Right up there with Eternals.
Hey, stop. Oh, I hate you so much. This
I
podcast
know.
is over.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I love the Eternals so much.
Oh, I know.
So then we have Kevin Durand.
I've loved Kevin Durand for years, man. He's great.
And you know what? He's in something recent as well that you haven't seen yet.
You sure? Because he wasn't something I went to the theater recently and saw.
Oh, wait, did you see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Yes, I texted you and told you that.
I black out a lot.
I know.
When you text me.
I know. No, I no, that's all right. But yeah, I knew he was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like I watched that whole movie wondering who was doing the mocap and and acting as the antagonist ape.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, it's that guy. It's Kevin Durand. He was amazing.
And if you listen, like, because I did know that he was playing it before we went and saw it. And if you listen to him talk, you're like, that's Kevin Durand. I know him.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, he does a great job, but like, I know his voice pretty well that I was like, yeah, I got it. I got him.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it again now.
You'll hear, I mean, he does a different voice, but there's definitely some moments that you'll be like, that's him. I got it.
Now, once again, I'm going to really talk about Kevin Durand because he was one of my favorites.
Yes.
In this movie. Pretty much everybody was my favorite, but there's a couple that stood out.
Okay. Yeah.
Kevin Durand played this character who is the muscle.
Right. Yes, for sure.
And he's also not very intelligent.
Yeah.
And the thing is the things that he gets wrong, let's just say.
Yeah.
In any other movie and a different actor, it might have bent the
realism,
the suspension of disbelief. Yeah, the realism, because there's a lot of times you have a character that's like kind of stupid, and you're like, oh, come on. Like I know people are not that intelligent, but really,
right.
But he sold it so well.
Yeah, I agree.
As somebody who honestly got some of these things wrong.
Yeah,
and they're like, are you kidding me, dude? Like all the other characters are like, come on, man. Yeah. And I can't remember some of the lines, but they're great.
No, they are. And I agree. He plays the part perfectly, which actually makes me really excited. I'm totally segueing to something else, but you bought me a wonderful comic. I'm totally drawing the blank on it. County.
Oh, Essex County.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. He is in it. And
is
he kind
of
of
hockey player? Oh, that's
I was
perfect.
like, oh, it's perfect. Like it made me go, oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Like he's perfect for that. Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm excited now. I haven't watched Essex County yet. It's been out for a long time now, but it's not easy to watch because it was in Canada only, I believe.
Right. Exactly.
All right. But now let's talk about, there's some other actors in here. Angus Cloud. Okay. Let's talk about him. Have you seen Angus Cloud and other things?
I haven't, but he was, I guess his big, from what I gather, his claim to fame was on,
Euphoria.
Gosh. Thank you. Euphoria. Yes. Which I have not seen, but I will say in this movie, the character he played the character perfectly. I mean, that was he played it very well.
I'm going to be brutally honest here.
Please.
Rest in peace, Angus Cloud.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He passed away after doing this movie. This was his last movie, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Now, I do love Angus Cloud, but I will say, to be honest, he's always kind of the same guy.
Okay.
Like, if you see Euphoria, it's almost the exact same character.
Okay.
I don't know how much range he really has as far as acting goes, but he is the kind of person that you enjoy seeing.
Sure. Yep.
But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about Angus. I did enjoy him in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Although he did something that, it's not the fault of the movie or anything, but man, when people smoke inside a building without asking for permission, and I know he was smoking weed, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, you didn't even ask anybody if it was okay.
I know.
Mind if I smoke, Oh,
yeah.
That just gets me.
Yeah. I get you.
You get me.
I get you.
Who else?
William Catlett.
He was good as Rickles.
Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But now let's talk about the best actor in the entire movie, Alisha Weir.
Dude, I cannot wait to see her career because she's fantastic in this. And I hope to God that she gets a zillion roles after this because she's wonderful. And I looked it up.
Matilda.
Yeah, I had no idea that she was I haven't seen it, but I didn't know that she was the new Matilda. And I was like, well, that's cool.
I also haven't seen Matilda, but I've seen a lot of the little videos of the girls dancing, which looks incredible. And it's like, I should watch that movie because I love choreographed dancing. I'm stupid like that.
No, I totally get that. I know, yeah, it's crazy in this one. At least I've heard and seen, but yeah, oh my gosh, I could sing this girl's praises for a while. She's fantastic in this.
And I can't wait for you to watch this movie a second time
Hmm.
because I picked up on so many things a second time, just the nuances of her acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, the scene where they go upstairs and she's dancing with
Oh yeah,
with Dean's headless
headless
body.
corpse. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I was paying more attention because at this point, I've seen the movie once. I know
Mhm.
that she is a centuries old vampire in this little girl's body. So I was kind of watching her acting
Mm-hmm.
to see if I believed that.
Right. Right.
And I totally did. And there's
Nice.
just these facial expressions that she gives them right before she fights them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing I loved. I loved her dancing as part of her fighting technique.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It was very
It was
cool.
so good.
Yep. And I wonder because I'm curious. I didn't look this up, but I mean, obviously she was in Matilda where there is a lot of dancing. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she does have some kind of background in possibly ballet, possible dancing. I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm sure she does.
No, I assume the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I can't sing her praises enough. But
Yeah. And I will say her little voice, it's kind of adorable too. You're just anytime you talk, I was like, oh, like it's cute.
yeah, I love, especially the second time watching this again.
Mhm.
I love that when you watch the scenes where she's just Abigail, the little girl, and she's acting like she's scared.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
You know, she's not doing the best job of acting scared. You
Mhm.
kind of, even watching it the first time, you're like, she's this a little fake there, like a little forced. But then you realize why. And
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
as seeing the rest of her acting abilities in the movie, she plays that part so perfectly. Where if you were one of the crew, especially if you were like Joey,
Right. Yeah.
you would buy the fact that this little girl is scared.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, she was just great.
She was. Yeah. Like I said, I hope people see this and say, let's put her in everything because she should be. She should be in a lot more stuff.
But that scene where they go upstairs and they're going to take her on, that's another thing. There are movies in which the antagonist is a child,
Hmm.
and let's just be
Do
blunt
it.
here. Chucky,
There you go. Yeah.
where you don't buy that this little person,
Mhm.
and in the case of Chucky, this doll, can
Right.
overpower these adults.
Right.
I bought it every single scene of this movie
Me too.
because she didn't seem perfect, but she seemed fast.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
And I believe we've talked about that in a recent movie. Can't remember which one, but there was a character that was small, and I didn't buy that they were strong. What have we done lately?
Right. Oh man, I do remember that conversation.
Yeah, I've blocked all 122 episodes before this one out of my memory. So
Yeah, they don't matter.
Yeah,
They're nothing.
nothing matters but today and you.
I don't know that song, but I knew it was a song.
I think it's Bon Jovi. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Nothing matters but today and you. Did that sound like John Bon Jovi?
That did actually. That was not bad, man. That was all right. Wow.
Made it up. There we go.
What? Look at
As we were saying,
Yeah. Anywho,
what were we even talking about? Anyway, yeah, I bought it.
I will say that scene was a lot of fun too, because we do see her. They all bring kind of their makeshift weapons, which is like a pointed pool cue as sort of a stake to the heart. Crucifix necklace. And I love that she uses them on them. Like it's like we got these things that are definitely against vampires, and then she like immediately uses those weapons on them. I thought was fun, and I love too that they all lived. I thought that was great, and it was almost like she was playing with her food. Like I kind of like that because she could have killed all four of them there, or three of them.
Which she says later. She says that later.
Right. But even at the time, I thought that I was like, oh, she could kill these guys, but she's having fun. Like this is
Yeah.
her, which is warped and twisted and kind of brilliant. So I love that they walked down defeated and obviously like whooped. It was fun. It was great.
I will say you did remind me of my other minor quibble
Oh,
that I was trying to think of earlier.
Okay.
Again, it's minor. It's something I just give the movie because I enjoyed it so much. But she shoves that broken pull cue all the way through Frank's leg, and it's his thigh.
Yes.
All the way through.
Yeah.
That man is surprisingly mobile.
Yeah.
For the rest of the movie, for somebody who has been impaled through the upper leg.
That is absolutely fair. Yeah, I get that.
But whatever, it's a good movie.
Exactly. Yeah, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And then the other scene that I loved, kind of that goes along with this one, is when she's chasing Peter. She's chasing Kevin Durand.
Yes.
And again, like I'm usually so tired of you have a movie where you have like a strong male character, and then when he gets scared, he screams high pitched,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
But it worked in this movie for me, man.
It did, yeah. And again, I think that's props to Kevin Durand. Like, he just played that part well, that you're like, okay, that works.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I did like that second fight scene.
Yes.
And it was, again, realistic. Like, she is able to overpower some of them, but then, man, when she's on top of Frank, and then all of a sudden, big Kevin Durand comes...
I laughed.
Just like flies off the stairs and tackles her. Yeah. It's so good.
I laughed out loud. I was like, oh my gosh. Because you just don't expect this like 275-pound man jumping like freaking Batman.
Yeah.
To grab this kid. Like, it was just wild.
Oh man. Let's talk about the rules of vampires in this movie.
Yeah. Yes.
A little bit.
Yep.
I kind of dig the rules. I think it's a popular thing these days where crucifixes don't affect vampires.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
So I was wondering if other things were going to affect them, but it turns out a stake through the chest or the heart does still kill these vampires.
Yep.
Sunlight definitely still kills these vampires.
Yep. Trying to remember. Oh, garlic does not. Or onions. No, because remember, she brings up, so that's the three weapons they bring up. They have the crucifix, that was the other one, the stake, and then she brings up the bag of garlic. And she immediately grabs the garlic and just puts it to her nose and goes, and sniffs it.
Yeah.
and then attacks. So
that was so good.
It was good.
One scene I did just forget, but I just remembered. So whatever. That nullifies that. I guess it balances it out because I forgot it and then I remembered it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. So anyway,
welcome to Fun with Horror, everybody. We don't talk much about things that we think. It's a pretty solid podcast.
When Sammy, my friend, ends up in the downstairs pool.
Oh, dude, yes.
There's all the dead bodies.
Oh, so gross.
What a fantastic scene, though.
It was great. And that when she gets out and is just covered in, I don't even know what you'd call it, bile.
Dead body goo.
And looks out and they're like, what are we talking? Like 2 or 3 bodies? And she just screams because it's like 50, 60 bodies in this pool.
Yeah. Oh, they're all decomposing. And it's
this gross. I smelled that scene watching it. You know what I mean? Like I
was going to say the exact same thing, buddy. Yes. And that's a great scene that you can actually smell and sense what the character's going through.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. She's like spitting too, like, because she's like, it's so gross, dude. That scene is disgusting, but it's so well made.
I will say that a few scenes later, when she has not had a chance to take a shower at all, she seemed pretty clean.
Yeah.
She was looking pretty good for somebody that's been in a pool full of 60 dead bodies.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's disgusting. Like when you think about it. So all these people that are brought there, like Annabelle.
I've done the same thing, my friend.
Abigail.
Yep.
She drinks their blood and then they just dispose of the bodies in this pool. Like that's where they go. It's just,
it's gross. It's really gross.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So they capture Abigail and put her in this elevator. Loved all this too, because she's trying to trick them into letting her out.
Right.
But then we eventually find out that obviously she's strong enough to knock down this gate.
And that hit me too, because at first, as I was watching that scene, I was like, well, that's weird. Like, we've seen her do some crazy stuff. I'm like, And then it hit, and I was like, oh, she's lying again. Like,
Yeah.
she's a really
Yeah.
good little liar.
And then we find out, again, another scene I absolutely love. She's on top of Frank,
hmm
and Joey comes in and breaks open the window, and we find out that when sunlight touches these vampires, they explode.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have some exploding vampires throughout this movie, the rest of this movie.
Yeah, we do.
And let me just tell you how funny I thought it was and how hard I was laughing last night. Because the first time I'm watching the movie, I'm just like engrossed in the movie. But then
Right.
last night I had a chance to like absorb it.
Yeah.
And just seeing how multiple vampires explode on these people and they just get more covered with dried blood as the movie goes on.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Abigail bites Sammy on the arm. And
Right.
another great scene. Another great scene. Do you know what I'm going to talk about? What are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking when she's hypnotizing Sammy or making Sammy do the things. Was that what you're going to say?
Keep going.
Wait, real quick. I know we're jumping to that scene, but I'm going back because I want to talk one more thing about where she blows her hands off, her hand off.
Sure, yeah.
So obviously, like, she bites, or she gets, the window goes open, her hand blows up, and she kind of scoots to the corner. But watching the bone reform, kind of like shoot out of the skin a little bit, was so disgusting to me.
Yeah.
It made me like kind of queasy, like just watching it just go up a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, that's really
I love that.
gross. No, it
love that.
was fantastic. But I just sat there and was like, ugh, that's really gross. But
that was great.
It was, yeah, it was great effects. Like, it was wonderful. But yeah, then the scene happens where Sammy's been bit.
But again, she bites Sammy, and when Sammy is talking to Abigail in the elevator, she's like, "Am I going to turn into a vampire?" And Abigail's just like, "Maybe."
Her delivery on that was perfect. It was
so
perfect.
good.
Yeah,
so good.
Maybe. And I love that. That just makes her even angrier. Like, that's not an answer.
Yeah, she says she's just said maybe, and then like Abigail just looks at her and shrugs. Such a good little actor.
She really is. Yeah, her subtle cues were fantastic.
But yeah, the part I'm talking about is when she's controlling Sammy and they're both dancing. Abigail is upstairs on her little stage dancing, and Sammy is doing the exact same dance in the little green room, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
I just loved it. I loved that scene.
And it was cool because even, I don't know, for some reason, the way she was dancing, and I know exactly what it is. Holy moly, that just hit. Wow. So I'm thinking of her as like a marionette Sammy.
Yeah.
The way she's dancing. And I mean, it's ballet. But there was an episode of Fringe, this is why it hit, where a guy uses essentially a dead body of a ballerina, ties her up, and makes her dance like a marionette. So I think that
was that Chandler or Monica?
Wait, I said Fringe.
Oh, you didn't say Friends?
No, did I say Friends? I thought I said Fringe. Oh, gosh.
No, you said Fringe.
Oh,
but
you
it sounded
brat.
like Friends, and I was like, "Hey,
Fringe.
Thought I'd make a little joke there."
Thank you. Well, I mean, Joey was in this movie.
There you go. See,
look at that, full circle. But I loved it. I just felt like she was a puppet, and the way she was moved. I don't know. It was a very cool scene.
I loved it. It was one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
And I did love too when Joey walks in, and we see Sammy's kind of like eaten Kevin Durand's character, or killed him. And she's like, "Oh no, I'm sad." And I love that Joey knows. She's like, "Why don't you come over here?" You know, I liked that because I feel like so many times we get that cliche if someone goes right up and they do a head turn really quick and oh no, the reveal. But I liked that she was smart enough to walk and go, that's not right. You know?
And I love that Frank kind of didn't. He was just, like, Frank is so smart in every other respect, but at this point he was just like, "What are you talking about?" You know, because she says run. And he's like, "What?" Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
But then we get into the control room. Oh, well, obviously they explode Sammy, which was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Which
she shines great. She reflects the sun onto Sammy, and that just makes her entire body just explode. And these explosions are incredible in this movie.
They are. They're all. It's
But
awesome.
then they find the control room because they're trying to open the house, the mansion, and Lambert shows up. And as we've talked about, he wants to turn Frank into a vampire to help him kill Abigail. But Frank has other plans. When he stabs Lambert through the back and Lambert explodes.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved how evil and crazy Frank looked covered in blood with the glasses on.
Yep. Totally. Like a maniac. Yeah.
Is this a perfect movie?
Man, it's sure darn close. No, right at that moment too, because with vampires, I feel like in many of the movies, and even we see it in this one, I mean, they heal quickly and whatever. But sometimes you don't think about stuff like that, like eyesight. And I love that after he becomes a vampire, he immediately takes his glasses off because he can now see. And I was like, I like that. At least I don't think about stuff like that, but I was like, oh yeah, he can see now. Like that's cool.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I liked it. Because I have contacts and glasses, so watching him take them off, I was like, oh, that's nice.
Once again, this is proof that you are the smartest podcaster in the world.
Nope, not true. Nope,
it's so true.
Nope,
you're the best.
You are. Stop it. Gosh,
you're the best.
You're the best. Look at if only you could all see him. He's just adorable. Yeah,
you're the best.
You're the best.
I feel like we're Goodwill Hunting right now.
Yeah. Not your fault.
Not your fault. Anyway, so then we have the climax of this movie, which everything about it, I just loved. I love that Frank he doesn't drain Abigail completely, but he drinks her blood and makes her completely weak, which helps sell the idea that Frank, even as a newborn vampire, see how I brought it back around to the coffee table?
Oh my gosh, you're good. You're so good.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway,
gosh,
as a newborn vampire, you would think that Abigail would have the upper hand on him.
Right. Being centuries older.
Exactly. She knows what she's doing.
Right.
But he turns the tables on her by making her weak.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, the moment we all knew was going to come at some point in the movie, Abigail and Joey team up to fight something. But they're fighting Frank. And what a fantastic fight.
Dude, it was awesome. Now, one thing I will say is it doesn't even matter the movie. I love when our first antagonist and protagonist team up. Like, there's just something about it. Like, yeah, there's something even worse, and now they're friends. Like, I don't know what it is, but I've always liked that. So right when they started, right when Abigail, and again, you know it's coming, but when Abigail shows up and saves Joey, I was like, yes, it's time.
You're not alone, and that's why it's kind of a cliche in movies.
Yeah, it's
a trope.
It totally is, but I love it, and maybe it's because I just like new friendships.
There you go. There you go.
You know. But it was a great fight. The whole fight was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and they eventually, I'm not going to go into detail, but they eventually defeat Frank.
Right. Yep. I will say those.
Oh, and it was so good because it took both of them pushing the stake down to get him.
Yes. Yep. Perfect.
And then Abigail is going to let Joey go.
Yep.
But we finally meet Abigail's father.
I know, which I was not expecting that. I really thought it was going to be a see ya kind of thing, at least at that moment. And then when he bumps into her, I was like, oh, there's more movie.
Absolutely. And I loved Matthew Goode as Lazar.
Yep.
Now, Matthew Goode played Ozymandias in the Watchmen movie.
Yeah, man.
And he's been in a bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm. He and Dan Stevens were on Downton Abbey together.
They were?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Downton Abbey, my friend. I've only seen 2 episodes.
I haven't either, but I did my research, quote unquote.
Wow, you really did a good job with this episode, buddy.
Finally, 123 episodes in, I actually did something.
I finally feel like you're my equal. I'm sorry. This is terrible. No.
Wow. That'll help my self-esteem later.
I felt bad saying that joke.
No, it's honest. It's okay.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's like, that's why I felt so bad, because I'm obviously the inferior host here.
No, knock it off. We're not doing this again.
No,
Knock it
because
off.
you're the best podcast host of all podcasts.
I mean,
I'm like a good podcast host in relationship to like 10 other ones. See,
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
I love the
Aye.
fact that Joey survived the whole thing.
Me too. Yeah. No, me too. And I love too that, Abigail's dad, who she's been trying to get this attention from, sort of, that they talk about. I love that he listens to her. And it's like, but I love that his last line is like, it's almost dinner time. You need to go. Like, get out.
Yeah. And I love that just kissing Joey's hand
Yes.
is
Yeah.
like he smells her blood and it's like too much, almost too much for him. So he's
Mhm.
like, you have to leave.
Yep. Exactly. Oh,
Now, here's the thing. Like, this movie, I don't think, like, they better make a sequel very quickly. Because that's the problem with an amazing movie like this. If they want it to be a franchise,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
nobody's going to buy this little girl. Yeah,
In fact, we did a movie that was a sequel, which you might remember, where they did do that, and they had to use some trickery, and it was fine, but there were moments where you're like,
Exactly.
mm.
Exactly. And we're talking about Orphan and its sequel.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I don't know.
It's not a spoiler.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing where the actor got older and is
Right.
playing the same character who's supposed to be the same age.
Younger even.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
no, I mean the same age as the first movie.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Wait,
and
no, even
Abigail,
younger because it's a prequel.
Oh, it was a prequel. Dang.
Yeah, man.
This is why once again,
Yep.
smartest podcaster ever.
Stop. Gosh. No. Keep me humble.
Or at least a better memory than me.
There you go. That we'll just go with that. I have a weird memory. That's all it is.
Yeah, I am getting old.
Stop.
Stop. Just stop.
Stop.
What did you think about the music?
Oh man, I'm sure it was good.
How did you not notice the score?
I don't know. I'm sure I did, but I didn't know.
Buddy.
There was so much going on in this movie. I think I was just focused on more stuff. I think if I did watch it a second time, it would stick.
This is one movie where I thought, because a lot of times I ask you what you thought of the score and you're like, I kind of didn't really notice it. And I'm like, I can understand. But this movie,
Mhm.
I thought for sure I was going to ask you and you'd be like, yes,
Yeah,
what a good score.
I'm sure it was. I think there was just so much going on in this movie. I was more focused on some other things.
Well, the score was composed by Brian Tyler, who also composed the Scream movies for these guys and who has also composed some Marvel MCU movies,
Really? Huh.
bringing it back to Marvel like I do.
Damn. Full circle in this episode.
But yeah, it's a great score.
Cool. Okay.
It's great to listen to away from the movie. It's just a beautiful orchestral score and it's got some catchy themes and everything. I love it.
Nice.
But I think that's about it.
Yeah, man, we covered that.
We did cover it. We covered the heck out of it, buddy.
With blood.
With blood. What?
I don't know.
You ready for 3 questions?
Let's do this.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Question number
No, I'm
1.
going to ask you. You
yeah,
picked
you
this
go ahead.
movie.
Okay.
Knock it off.
Cut, pause, take 2.
All right. Question number 1. Let me think. What is it? What is the best death or kill?
What are you asking me what I thought was the best kill or death?
Yeah,
in
I
this
was
movie?
reading. I'm reading my notes. I forgot the questions. Yeah, what's the best death or kill?
You at the end of this podcast.
Dang it! Sorry. No, I'm kidding. What's the best death or kill?
I
in this?
think it's a tough one because they're all really good. I think I'm gonna go with Sammy.
That's what I picked too.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I love, like, you're wondering if she's gonna actually try and walk into the sunlight, but then I just love how clever Joey is by just holding up that tray, which we saw earlier in the movie.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Foreshadowing.
Yep.
And then the way Sammy just completely explodes. It's so good.
Yeah. Nope. I got nothing to add to that. That was exactly mine because it was fun. It was a fun kill. All right, buddy. Was it scary? Was this movie scary?
No, not at all. Not to me. I don't know. Some people may feel some suspense or tension with this movie, but I think the movie is just so much fun.
Yeah.
If you're a little bit sensitive to gore,
Yeah. There you go.
this might get to you, but otherwise, I don't think this is a very scary movie.
I agree with you, and I almost don't think it was intended to be a very scary movie. I mean, I would say this is more intended to be just kind of a fun time with some craziness. At least that's how I took it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course I know the answer, but we gotta ask it, man. Did you have fun with horror?
Yes, I did.
I mean, I did too.
No, just kidding. As we've already talked about it, but this movie is the definition of a fun horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And if you, I kind of mentioned at the beginning, but if you just need an hour and 50 minutes just to get away from the world for a bit and have a good time, watch this movie.
Yes. Watch Annabelle.
Yep. Creation.
You're really good at pretending to be a little girl.
Thank you. I've had a few centuries of experience.
Tell us how to get out of here, and we'll let you go.
Hey, what's gonna happen to me? Am I gonna turn into a vampire?
Maybe.
All right. Well, buddy, you have piqued my curiosity with your choice for our next movie. I have no idea what you're picking now.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us and give us like a 10-minute intro to what you're picking before you actually tell us what movie it is.
Okay. So when I was picking this movie, let me set the scene for you. It was a dark and gloomy night. Every star shone brighter than the last.
You just make that up?
Yeah, I don't know.
That was beautiful.
Hey, thanks, man.
Every star shone brighter than the last.
I don't know.
That was so good.
I don't know.
That was amazing.
Thanks, man.
I want to hear the rest of this movie.
It gets pretty erotic. Oh, sorry.
What's our next movie, buddy?
Yeah, can you all tell we're at the end of the episode? Okay, so I'm gonna let me talk a little bit about this though. So we made a list, I feel like a long time ago, movies we wanted to see. And we've added to it and things, but I mean we made that list like before our first episode, I want to say, or around the first episode, where we had here's what I want to see. We haven't showed it to each other. A long time ago we did this. And so there's been two that I've wanted to see forever. But we've always had like new movies or whatever. There's one I want to see. And there was a sign this week that said I need to pick it. And it's from 1978. And that's magic. So I hop on to watch a movie called Abigail on someone's account. And there, lo and behold, is a brand new purchase of magic. And I went, well, there's my sign. But this is why I was worried, was that maybe you were like going to do this for like a Patreon episode or something. So I'm like, I don't know if you picked it for that, but man, this has been on my list since the beginning. I've wanted to see this movie because ventriloquist dummies, I should say, freak me out, man. I'm excited.
Well, let me set the scene for you, buddy.
Please.
The year was 2024, and I was at Monsterpalooza, and there was a booth where they had all these soundtracks on CD, and I'm browsing through these soundtracks looking for something maybe that I don't have that's unavailable anywhere else, and I happen upon the score to this movie, Magic, by Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith, who did the score to Alien, Poltergeist, many huge movies. Jerry Goldsmith is basically second only to John Williams.
Okay. Wow.
The Omen. Like, he's done some major movies. Yeah.
Jeez.
And he did the score to Magic. That made me sit there and go, wow, I don't remember if I ever saw the entire movie. Because I remember when I was a kid, that the ventriloquist dummy that you're talking about freaked me the hell out.
It's creepy now, even on the cover of the movie, man.
So then I go on to Apple after I bring home this score, and I'm like, I would rather watch the movie before I listen to this score.
Nice.
And so I looked it up, and it was like, what, $5 or something. It was cheap on Apple. So I'm like, I'm going to buy it. And I pressed play. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to pick this for a future episode.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
That is so perfect.
Oh
Good
my
job, man.
gosh.
Good job. I can't wait to watch this
Yeah,
and talk about it with you.
me too. Because I don't know. I watched the trailer, I think, a few years back and always stuck with me, and I just never watched it. And so that was why, I mean, just that trailer. And again, I don't remember anything from the trailer except just the ventriloquist dummy looking freaky.
And it stars Anthony Hopkins, one of the greatest actors that ever lived.
Exactly. So I immediately put that on my list. It's number 3. Now there's no order to my list, but it was number 3 on my list because it was just, I think, on, in my brain, ready to go as one I wanted to see. So the fact that you bought it just blew my mind. I was like, I have to pick this.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect, buddy. As of the time of this recording, where can people watch Magic?
Man, as of this recording, you can go on Roku, you can go on Shudder, you can go on Prime, you can go on Peacock. I think that's the big ones. I think Crackle maybe was one too. I mean, it's a lot of places. So if you haven't seen it, this is a great one you can find in many different areas.
We all love Crackle.
It might not even be Crackle. I just remember seeing a few where I was like, I'm sure. But I put some of the big ones there.
Well, that's awesome, dude. I can't wait to watch this and talk to you about it.
Me too.
But that's going to be in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, however, we have some guests on Fun with Horror. We have Brian, Sam, and Ross. I hope all 3 of them. If everything goes well, we have all 3 of them, and they're going to be on their Chuddle the Pod.
Woohoo!
Our good friends, and they are going to be on Fun with Horror. We're going to be talking about Mike Flanagan's Oculus.
Nice.
Which I've heard is your favorite movie ever.
Nope, not at all.
That's another conversation.
Yep, that's for another time, friend.
I still think you're wrong about something, but we'll talk about that after we say cut.
Okay.
Although we never say cut, do we?
Nope, we don't.
We just say goodbye.
Yep.
Also,
tricked ya.
But also subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes, please. That would be great. We would love that.
But yeah, everybody, thank you for listening. And
yes,
find us on social media. We're on all of them. But yes, absolutely. Look up the Fun with Horror podcast on Patreon. And if you want to become a patron to us to help support us and what we do after all these episodes later, you're going to have some exclusive episodes. You're going to have access to polls to help decide what we're going to talk about in those episodes. You're going to get a personal thank you right here on the podcast, like the 4 people did at the beginning of this podcast. Those beautiful, beautiful humans.
Yes, we love.
So, yeah, we love you all.
We do. We love you all. Thank you all for listening and joining us on this wild journey we've been on.
And like I said, stay tuned next week when we have Chuddle the Pod on with us. And week after that, Andrew and I will be discussing magic.
Yay!
All right. So with that, go watch Abigail. Go watch Annabelle. Go watch Annabelle Creation. Go watch Annabelle Comes Home.
Go watch Magic.
Watch Magic, especially, I guess.
Come on.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
What happened?
His head fell off. Why do you have a dick on your face?